Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. After a week off, I'm here with Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, football took off fall break, but there's some other sports that didn't take off. A lot going on in WCS.
That's right. If you're not a football player, but you're a fall athlete and you get to go on fall break, that's not a good thing, unless it's golf. But you want to be staying home for fall break instead of going down to 30A or Moab.
It's like Thanksgiving with football.
That's right. You want to be practicing on Thanksgiving. Hey, very good, Coach. And fall sports, volleyball, soccer, you want to be playing over fall break. You want to be practicing over fall break.
Tate, we got a lot to cover.
Real quick, because I can tell you're going to gloss over this. Glad to be back from fall break. I feel rested. You look rested. You look like you have a glow about you.
I'm very rested. Had a great fall break.
If I didn't know what a diehard Big Blue Nation fan you were, I would think that the glow has to do with all is right in the world again. It's been 15 years. My daughter has never known this to happen since she's been alive. But the Big Orange took down the mighty Crimson Tide this past weekend. And the universe is where it ought to be.
I would only respond by saying this. If you try something 16 times, you're bound to do it once.
Well, I don't want to get off the rails. But
Don't talk about any 20-something game winners.
there you go. You had to have known that was coming.
We got a lot to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about. Okay.
Well, congratulations for you VFLs.
Hey, man, it was great. It was great. The sheriff was in town, but I'm worried about the Big Blue Nation coming.
In a couple weeks.
You know what's funny, though,
Looking
man?
ahead to Georgia. Not so worried about UT Martin, I don't think.
No, that's going to be about like Fairview, Camden.
It won't be that close.
Gosh. Thanks for playing.
Hey, listen, Tate, we got a lot to cover. We're going to start with volleyball. And as bad as I hate to do it, I feel like this is WCS on WCS crime. I think both of us deserve the Clown Show of the Week.
Hey, kids. It's your host of the Sports Connection, Darrin Joins and Tate Mathews. We are your Clown Show of the Week. We apologize to Brentwood Volleyball, Ravenwood Volleyball, and the soccer team, Centennial. Obviously, our picks and our prognostications of volleyball and soccer this fall of 2022 were Clown Show-esque. If the glove fits, you must acquit. Do 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 do. I mean, I'm embarrassed.
Listen, I feel bad. We owe an apology to Centennial Soccer.
Sorry, Coach McQueen.
We just basically said Franklin's got it. They won 4-0. They're ranked number 1 in the state. Centennial shows up, wins, and really
PKs, right?
PKs. I think the ultimate clown show is when we just acted like it was offensive to act like Nolensville was not going to make it to the district final. But what does Ravenwood do? They show up 3 straight sets, defeat Nolensville.
Whammo. And then, well, I don't want to give away what. Can we do some foreshadowing?
Sure.
Oh, and then, I mean, we've been talking all week. All fall about Brentwood. Go ahead and book. Nolensville, go ahead and book the hotel rooms. It's a done deal. And Brentwood says, okay. You know, we know a thing or two about going to the Murphy Center ourselves, but so, hey man, you got to man up sometimes.
You got to man up,
and we definitely missed the mark.
Or in this case, we had to clown up.
We're clowning up. I hope I never have to wear this again.
Do we have to do the segment?
Talking about ourselves.
Do we have to do the segment in the get up or?
No, I think we can take it off.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, fill them in real quick.
They're your rules.
SEC now, SEC Nation, they must be watching the show.
They're watching. Peter Burns, Chris Doring, they have a little bet they do, and it's the somebody had to dress up as Chuckles the Clown because it was Florida LSU, their alma maters. LSU won. Doring was Chuckles the Clown on the show.
Who's the greatest clown of all time?
Whichever one you're imitating. Bozo probably gets Bozo.
I go with Bozo.
Bozo's one.
Actually,
I know Mr. Producer, he's a fan of Krusty.
Krusty's pretty funny. I don't know if he's kid friendly all the time. Oh no, man, that's not true. The greatest clown of all time is Homie the Clown.
Homie the Clown.
Homie don't play that.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, what was I going to say? You were talking about the one that I'm doing. I have to give credit where credit is due. That's actually Dr. Qualls' clown voice. I stole it from him, so I got to give it credit to Dr.
The original clown.
Of this show, yes.
All right, so let's go through these results.
Of the original game day. Yes.
There's a lot going on here. So Ravenwood pulls off the 3-0 win over, not just beat them, 3-0.
3-0.
3-0.
The three-time defending state
Unbelievable.
champions and had dominated the entire regular season.
Dominated. Nothing said or led to this was going to happen. Ravenwood came in 2-6 in the league. Had lost to Centennial the week before.
Now, since we gave ourselves the clown of the week, we did say though, watch out for Ravenwood and Brentwood.
Sure.
Especially Ravenwood, because they usually not turn it up a notch or two in the tournament.
That's right. Brentwood, we're so focused on that Nolensville deal. Brentwood was down 2-0 and a match point to Franklin.
A match point.
A match point. And they end up winning in 5
Sports,
sets.
man.
It's sports. Welcome to sports. In the championship there in the district, Battle of the Woods, Ravenwood defeated Brentwood 3 straight again. Bella Lepore, 58 digs, 8 aces, 10 assists, 25 service points. Pretty nice couple of matches for Bella of Ravenwood High.
In case you're wondering, Bella was the district tournament MVP.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Good job, Bella. In the other district, border battle in the final, Indy defeated Summit 3-0. And I noticed Indy was putting some graphics out about they had swept the border battle in soccer and football, and
I did see that.
they were giving it to them.
Giving it to them.
I mean, sometimes you have to. When you're winning, you may as well do it.
Yeah, but it's kind of like tearing goalposts down after getting beat 15 straight. Sometimes that stuff comes back on you.
But in the moment, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun in the moment.
We move on to the region tournament, and I don't think this surprised us. No offense to Summit and Indy, but that other side's just better.
But they are closing the gap.
They are. Ravenwood defeated Summit 3-0. Brentwood defeated Indy 3-0. And then in the championship, rematch of the district final, Brentwood gets it done in 4 sets. They drop the first. They win the next 3. Ashley Miller, 15 kills, 11 digs. She was the tournament MVP. Dylan Saucer, 76 assists in those 2 wins. Now, here's the one that surprised me a little bit. Brentwood beating Station Camp. No surprise. Brentwood moves on to the state tournament. Ravenwood, down 2-0. They come all the way back, but they fall short against Hillsboro, 15-13 in 5 sets. That surprised me some, Tate.
It did. Who would have thought that you'd be better off going to Station Camp, hosting Station Camp than going to Hillsboro? I will say this, and I think it was you maybe that said you saw them earlier in the year. They're very athletic.
Yeah, good. They're pretty good.
They're really good. So, but yeah, I would have definitely, if that was on Pick'ems, I would not have gotten that one right. But as much as I hate it, that is a pretty cool story for Hillsboro.
It is.
But,
It is. And what a great run by Ravenwood.
oh, unbelievable.
Nothing to be disappointed about. How about this stat?
Heartbroken. Not
Heartbroken,
disappointed,
but not. Hey, I've got a pretty good gym later, so I couldn't decide. But this is not the gym.
This is a good one.
It's a pretty good one. Since 2006, Brentwood or Ravenwood, sometimes both.
That's right.
One of those teams has reached the Class AAA state championship match. Hey, rest of the state, appreciate it. Thank y'all for being involved in volleyball. You might get us every once in a while, but not very often.
Nope. That's a long time.
It's a long time. And add Nolensville to that now.
That's right.
So, and of course they played Ravenwood last year.
Yes.
That's why the streak wasn't broken. Hey, let's real quickly look at that state bracket. Got you a volleyball bracket. Lebanon plays Hillsboro. For those of you who are watching out in Jimmy Mack land, I did not know Lebanon played volleyball. So I'm going to guess that
Surprised Coach Barrett lets any of the
right.
athletes go.
I'm going to guess on that side of the bracket they're not coming out of that side.
My guess is
Houston, Cleveland. I'm just going to go ahead and pencil in Cleveland all the way to the final. Tate, West Ridge, Brentwood. I think Brentwood rolls in that one over West Ridge. Maryville, Collierville. Talking to Brett Young earlier in the season, Maryville, they're pretty good.
tough schedule, tournament losses, yeah. And they've been good.
So what are your thoughts about that as you look at
I'm
it?
going Hillsboro, and then I'm going Cleveland.
I'm doing the same.
It ends there for Hillsboro.
Right, it's over. Of course, they get to go the back bracket and all that
West
stuff.
Ridge, I don't even know where the flip that is. I'm going with Coach Cram and the Bruins. I'm going with Maryville. Then I'm going Brentwood. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Where are you going? It's the Coach
Brentwood,
Crawford.
Cleveland.
It's the Coach Crawford versus Coach Crawford.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
They need to bring him in, like let him do the coin toss or whatever. Or
Speak to the teams.
I'm going Brentwood, Cleveland. The Lady Bruins take back what is rightfully theirs, the state AAA volleyball championship.
That would just put them in the final. So Cleveland would have to come back and then
That's right.
take care of business. So you think Brentwood, they cruise after that winner's bracket final.
All right, so I apologize. So Brentwood goes to the finals.
That's right.
Cleveland comes back through. I think they make it all the way through. Brentwood beats them twice.
I agree.
Lady Bruins are the state champ. And shame on you for doubting them.
Shame on us. And listen, even if I thought they weren't going to win, I'm definitely picking them because
Where is West Ridge?
I've been, well, they're going to be at the house here in about
Thanks for playing.
48 hours. Great season. See y'all later. So we're both saying we get that state title, but it's not in Owensville. It's Brentwood.
But we'll take
it.
WCS, baby.
We'll take anything we can get. And I will admit, I felt like Owensville had a better chance to keep it going in the postseason. So for which ended up happening, right? We only had one team make it. But
you want me to give another one? Dylan Sulser is the tournament MVP.
yeah, she's playing awesome. She was the league MVP.
Yep. She's going to be the state tournament MVP.
Yeah, she had a great season, and it's continuing.
Yes.
Hey, let's talk a little soccer. A lot to talk about there. For the second time this year, they beat them a couple weeks ago to win the league during the season. Page with a 1-0 win in overtime over Murfreesboro Central Magnet. They're getting sick of us. Emerson Ladd with the goal in overtime. Page will now host Fairview in the region semis. Fairview lost 3-0 to Sycamore. Central Magnet worries me a little bit because I know how soccer is.
Yeah. No, I was going to say the same thing.
You can dominate a match and still get beat.
Well, I wasn't going to use the word worry, but Page always seems to get the upper hand. But those games they seem like they're always going into extra time. Those games they are very evenly matched for whatever reason, which I'm glad Page always gets the nod. But you're right. They're going to see each other again, maybe two more times. I just hope they can keep that win streak going on them. But those two, they're the class of AA. No,
You got to win. You have to win the right one.
That's right.
The region final wouldn't matter. Not really.
Right. Unless, kind of like you said, it's hard to beat somebody 3 times in a season. You always say, "Why's that?" Right.
I don't buy into it.
So I don't want to lose to them
It's
at all.
hard to beat a great team once.
That's right.
Just,
That's right.
Just remember that.
And Coach, hey, we've been here, right?
They've got a little swag to them.
I like it.
No one's had that same swag in volleyball. Not arrogant, just a swag, and you never know. But I'm Paige. I'm in.
I am too.
I'm in. Ravenwood, 3-1 win over Centennial. It's the 3rd straight district title for Ravenwood, 4 in 5 years. Centennial, of course, had upset Franklin in the semifinals in PKs. Ravenwood had defeated Brentwood. Here's what's crazy about it with Centennial. Not only had they lost to Franklin the previous week, 4-0. Now, in soccer, that's a killing.
Yes.
4-0, that's bad.
It's boat race.
But we don't do that,
No.
except for the show. But how about this gym, Tate? We had to dig deep for this one. This week's gym. Centennial Their first region appearance since 2005. That year they advanced to the state tournament. Can they do it again?
Yes.
It's going to be tough, though.
Yep.
Because we're playing us.
Right.
Indy, now I'll tell you this, Indy got their first district championships. First one ever. Schools, of course, they've been playing with.
Didn't we kind of pick Nolensville soccer too?
Yeah, it's just not. When it rains, it pours. Indy with the 2-1 win over Nolensville, went down to Peak. And I saw that listed for those soccer purists out there. It does make the score 2-1, right? When you win in PKs.
Oh, yeah.
It's 1-1.
Yeah.
And then PKs makes it.
Or does it just mean you won? We got to do some research.
I know it means you won. Mr. Producer, maybe correct us, but I think it's 2-1. Like the. I think the PK
you're
makes it a
usually pretty
1.
informed in that, but I'm starting to.
You doubting it? But you're
No.
not just going to say we just won. But what was the score? We just won.
We won in penalty kicks. I'm going with we won in penalty kicks. You're going with
2-1.
2-1. Loser buys the other one a thing of queso. Loser pays for queso.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Regardless, big win.
Big win. So, goalkeeper Presley Covey had a couple of big stops there. I wanted to mention Riley Fanol had a big goal there for Indy. I know that got him going. And you can see this happening a little bit. You feel like with Podolsky, the teams are doing, it may be a little easier than soccer, what you always say, don't let the superstar beat you. You notice people are focusing on her a lot more, and she's not doing as much scoring as she had been during the season. Because of those results, Indy now hosts Centennial. Ravenwood hosts Nolensville.
God.
So what are your thoughts about those two semis? Sounds like to me, you think Centennial.
I think, I'm not predicting. Are we predicting?
I'm predicting.
I think
I've been a clown
both-
this long. Let's go.
I think both of the road teams could win.
Oh. You're going Centennial Nolo.
Well, I mean, let's not act like
Don't say
Nolensville's-
could. What do you predict?
Oh, we're picking? We're picking?
Pick it.
Okay, I'm going Centennial Ravenwood.
That's what I'm going.
But Nolensville gives Ravenwood all they want.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Definitely. All right. Let's talk a little golf. Had the state tournament while we were out. Sevierville, Ravenwood girls, they were 6th on day 1. But what happens? Mr. September. Tate Craig. We can't say he's in October.
That's right. Yeah,
but we-
right.
you know.
Right, exactly. Kind
Reggie-
of like there's only one
Reggie
number
Jackson's
6
got that
in
one
the
locked
NBA.
The tournament starts in September, so we're going to count it. They're 6th after day 1. They finished 2nd for the 2nd year in a row. Just a great job there. I know he gave a great speech there
He did.
after day 1. Had to get after them a little bit and say, we got to step it up, girls, and boy, did they. Finished 2nd to just a really, really good Cookeville team.
Yes, that's big. And you're right, he was not happy. And the reason he wasn't happy was he knows they're better than that, the way they
right.
played, So I love that team part of it, but they rallied around each other, turned up the heat, finished 2nd. I don't know that they would have had to play flawless golf to beat Cookeville,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah, so
They would have.
I think that's about as, I think you got everything out of them that you could. Runner up, we'll take it.
Everything out of them. And on the individual side, Tate, Sophia DePaulo, I know she's disappointed. She battled through some injuries this year. She finishes tied 4th. That's tough to be disappointed, tied 4th. I also wanted to mention Hannah Ruth Walton for Ravenwood, finished tied 6th.
Yeah. Sophia, what an unbelievable career. State championship.
Probably see her at the Wilcox.
I would say she'll be there again. And it sounds like Miss Walton needs to be there as well. But
I think she'll be there too.
do you like that, being able to tie?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
There was 3 at 6th place.
I think it's okay at those levels. Now, if you're talking about tied 2nd, like they did, remember last year on the team, they had a tie. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all, actually. But with that, you get into too many. I mean, you look at the individual results, lots of ties. Hey, I did want to mention, too, the Ravenwood team, obviously we mentioned was 2nd. Shout out to Holly Hake, who finished tied 16th. and Emma Hatrick, also a part of that team. So great job, Ravenwood Girls Golf. Boys side, we did okay too, Tate.
Yeah, we did. Paige finished runner-up to Collierville. Collierville, pretty good at golf. Paige had an 8-stroke lead going into
that was
day
rough.
2. That's tough.
That was tough.
Now-
It felt so different than Ravenwood's
It did.
because they go 6th the second. I'm telling you, Paige had it all but one.
That's a. I don't play. You do. That's tough to watch a lead that big slip away, right? Because
And it can happen in that sport.
yeah, it sure can.
Ask Greg Norman,
But still, what an unbelievable. Yeah, right.
Masters that year.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
What an unbelievable finish though for them. That's got to be the highest in school history.
Absolutely, never been there.
Yeah.
So they got some guys coming back too.
Yeah, they do. They're strong.
Wanted to mention our top WCS finishers tied at 6th. Michael Hake, Ravenwood, Grant Clark, Page. Also, Tyler Wilson of Page tied 13th. 16th, Page, Laird Williams. Brentwood had a couple guys tied 19th. You like those guys?
Oh yeah, Jacob Purifoy. He's shooting basketball this week, going straight from placing 19th in the state tournament, and Sam Johnson. So
Thought that was cool they finished together.
I do too. Really cool.
That was nice.
So, congratulations to them. And then your man, he's on the in Carson on the.
Yeah,
He's on the name.
he's
team.
on the all-name team. Carson Chubbs Wilds and Zach Chapman, both of Page.
Hey, we have to do this. One of us more than the other likes to take shots. Our former conference mate or whatever,
Doormat.
Dixon County, got to give a shout out to Coach Jay Palace.
Absolutely. Love Coach Palace. This is all in fun, too. It's
Athletic
fun
director,
times.
correct. Athletic. Well, I don't know that he thinks it's fun, but athletic director and golf coach Jackson Harrington is the state champion in golf. I know it was all coaching, Coach Palace. Congratulations.
Here's what's cool about that, and I mean this, it's a total compliment. When you talk about, I used to say this with Portland volleyball, and they had these great runs. That's a pretty unlikely place to be as good. Now, they've got great course. They got Greystone there. Got a pretty nice public course up there, too, in Montgomery Bell. But it's not like you expect Dixon to be so good, and they're really good.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you got Walcott there, and
Yeah,
I mean,
that
there's
probably helps.
there's some golf. Yeah, there's some golf tradition there. Crazy enough. So, but yeah, congratulations. Hey, if we can't win it, I'm
Yeah,
happy.
me too.
I'm happy it was them.
Me too. And Mr. Producer was in my ear there telling me, making sure I mentioned Brooke Bennett of Page High School also competed, tied 23rd. All right, Tate, let's turn our attention to football. We were off last week with football games. We were off for Sports Connection, so we have to recap what happened a couple weeks ago. We're going to start with the game in the state of Tennessee, Nolensville Page. It was for the region championship. The game didn't disappoint. We were there for game day. It didn't disappoint. Mr. Bass, his crew there, the TV and film crew, those students showing up an hour earlier than typical
Yes,
because of senior night.
which is 2 hours before kickoff,
It was incredible, actually.
and it was packed.
Mr. Street would have been happy, John Street, but he was on assignment.
But the Mr. Street,
The
was
Mr.
there.
Street was there.
So he was there to witness it and gave great feedback. And let me tell you something, because I want to make sure I don't forget about this once we get talking about this game. You're right, the game didn't disappoint, and it was the game of the week. I was able to stay. The halftime performance by the Nolensville band
It's incredible.
was incredible.
It's something. Coach Derrick says they're a band school.
Good, great. Hey, man, it's been 2 weeks now. It started off with The Lion King, and then it went to Welcome to the Jungle of Guns N' Roses.
Which you're obviously biased.
Of course. I mean, there was some Katy Perry in there. That was the best halftime band show I've seen anywhere. Hey, Tennessee,
pretty good.
Alabama, that was better. It was
Mr.
unbelievable.
Easley and his crew knock it out.
It was unbelievable.
27-21 in overtime, Tate. It was what everybody expected.
Yeah.
Page gets on the board first, and then it was just totally back and forth. Nolensville scores, Page, Nolo. It changed, though, in the overtime. Page gets it all the way down to the 1 yard line. They go for it, which I love the call.
Yep.
Didn't get it, and then Nolensville responds.
Yeah, and I think, I'd love to know if in the back of Coach Rathbone's mind, he knows they're going to see each other again. But, everybody, if you don't know, the rules in overtime are you get 4 shots within the 10, right? And
That's right.
he did not feel good about stopping Chance Fitzgerald that close. So he was going for it. And he wanted to make sure that they scored. And again, who knows? I think he knows they're going to see each other again. But what a great way to play. And then Nolensville's got to answer, and who do they go to?
The man.
The man, Mr. Touchdown. But here's what I love most.
And he had tied it up.
He had tied it up. And hey, it got there. They're about halfway through the fourth quarter. It looked like Page was getting ready to take that thing over. I thought momentum swings. But here's what I loved about it. You always like it when you see somebody step up. But think about all the hype up to this game and all the big names on both of these guys' side. And then you look at how it happened. Page strikes first. Colin Hurd to Boyce Smith. You ever heard of that before? Then Nolensville comes back, right? And I believe their first touchdown was Kobe to Dylan Northcutt.
That's correct. That's correct.
So you ever heard of that before? You know what I'm saying?
Ethan Cunningham.
Samson Johnson.
Chance Fitzgerald.
Henry
No,
Casey.
you're right. You're right. The players played.
The players played, man.
Yeah. Great point.
The players played. Coaches coached. It was just a great game.
It was. Fitzgerald, 13 catches, 99 yards, and a rushing touchdown. You were talking about him worried about him getting the ball down there so close. Of course, Sampson. What I love about Johnson, I think he had like 40, 50 yards rushing, but he gets in the end zone.
He does.
He's got a knack for it.
And he ran with another gear the last part of the fourth quarter in overtime. It was time for him to step up. He did. Loved it. Pretty cool. We saw him down there. A representative of Row the Boat was down there. We tried to get him.
Oh, that's right. We tried to
get that guy, an assistant coach from Minnesota, to give us the goods on PJ Fleck. He wasn't biting.
I think I know, though.
Yeah, I do too. Austin P was there. Anyways, Chance, his scholarship offers have really started to turn up since that game. I saw where he got a Wisconsin one earlier this week. It's going to be fun to see where that finishes out for him.
They're going to play again.
Yeah.
I think we all agree on that. No Max Collins for Page. I think there's a chance he plays if they play. And again, that's not an excuse. It's football, man.
It's football.
That's where next man up started. That's just the nature of that game.
First win for Nolensville over Page. That was big. They needed to get that one.
They did. I'll be interested to see who we pick
next time
when that game comes up again. It could be a.
You said you'd never pick against Page again.
We'll see.
Oh, well, foreshadowing.
Tate, that brings us to another great game. Centennial 28, Ravenwood 24. None of us picked it. Centennial still feeling a little disrespected. I had a young man say something to me after the Franklin game. He said, "You didn't believe in us." I was like, "Actually, I picked you." He's just so used to not being picked. But none of us picked them last week. They're down 14-0 to start that game. And what does it do? We've got an unbelievable log jam. All at 3-1. Brentwood, who lost to Ravenwood.
Yep.
Centennial, who lost to Independence. Independence, who lost to Brentwood. Ravenwood lost to Centennial. What that means is we need to play another game to figure out what's going on.
Yes.
There will be 2 teams 4-1, though.
Yes.
And then we'll do a tiebreaker there.
Right. Do we know what that is?
It'll be head-to-head.
Head-to-head. Oh, yeah. Yep,
It'll be head-to-head, so it'll be fine. Anyway, kudos.
Nolensville Page, game of the state. But this is one of, I've been watching, I think I've been watching Centennial football ever since the school started. Had a nice run under Coach Rector. If it hadn't have been for Centennial Independence and the 15-0 guys, they probably would have a state championship under their belt. I feel safe saying this is one or the biggest or the second biggest win in school history. And you know what I love about it? They were down 14-0. We've talked about it. These non-region wins they've got the last couple of years. Hey, we got those. And then now this year we get into getting some region wins and building that confidence. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody thinks about the scheduling. If those guys hadn't gotten used to winning and building that confidence, they don't come back from 14-0. You know, I'm so happy for Coach Kreisky, his staff, his kids, and his administration.
You know what tells me that it's different is that when they were down 14-0 and Ravenwood fakes a punt on their own 9, they go 52 yards, Drake stolen work.
Yep.
So you're going, okay, here we go.
Yeah, right.
Ravenwood, here we go. But what happens? A fumble recovery and a score from Xavier Haddix makes it 14-7. Now it's on.
Yes.
Ravenwood kicks a field goal, make it 17-7. Get a couple Centennial scores to go up. Ravenwood scores. Oh, here we go again. 24-21, but no. Tanner Lee, who's done it all year, 80-yard touchdown to give them the lead, 28-24. And then Charlie Mills intercepts a Connor Shaw pass to seal it. They did it in a pretty unique way, too, is what we're saying.
Of course, yeah. And I think they'll be better for it. Already had confidence. Give them confidence going into the playoffs, which they are going now. Heck, they might be the first seed.
Could be.
And, they've got, it's kind of the same thing as with Nolensville, but they're big play guys, made big plays. And that's what's going to take come playoffs, right? And what a run Tanner Lee's been on.
He really, literally.
It's hard to say that with, no pun intended, with what Trey Hartwell's doing, but he might be the best running back in the conference.
He's making a case for it. Brendan Jones, a couple of touchdown passes that made the score 21-17. One to Kanai Johnson, one to Jaron Oddie. Big plays for them. Kartua Chapman, again, played well, running it more than throwing it. One of the reasons they put Shaw in at the end of the game to pass the ball a little bit more.
Yeah.
But let's face it, Ravenwood's going to have to be a get the lead, run the ball kind of team from here on out.
Yeah.
They're not going to develop a big-time passing game with this little time left, I don't think.
No. Well,
Plus, they got Pace who can run it.
That's right. And run it well, but they're also, it's changed. You had a guy that you could turn the ball over, and he could dig you out of that. That's not how we're built now. So that's got to be cleaned up. Coach Hester will tell you that.
They'll figure it out.
Yep.
Border Battle, the WCTV game of the week, Independence. As soon as we're starting to count them out, they're down 21-3 in the first half. Coach Coleman had his kids ready to go. I could sense it when we did the coaches show that he had their attention after that game they played against Ravenwood. They're up 21-3. Trey Hartwell scores a touchdown at the end of the half to give Indy a little bit of momentum. They get a safety early in the third quarter. Hartwell scores again. Now all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh, here comes Indy. That cuts it to 21-19. And then you get a Brooks Sapone, don't call me Al, to steal Katina for a 17-yard touchdown. They take the lead with 3:38 left in the third. No more scoring after that. So you think about it. It's 21-3 late in the second quarter. With 4 minutes left in the third, they had the lead. Great run by Indy. Maybe a signature win for this season for Coach Stidham in his first year. That maybe propels them to even greater heights.
Yeah, I think so. And, it took them a while to figure out who they are, right? And so, Brooks keeps playing well at quarterback, and Trey Hartwell just keeps making big plays. You got to love Daniel Morales and River Katina. Steel Katina.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
River don't call me Steel, Steel don't call me River.
The Katinas have.
Bunch of them.
It's
hard to keep up.
I don't know if there's been a family that's contributed more to Independence football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's so many of them that have all been good there. So, man, I don't know if you remember this. I don't want to do that, but I'm going to do it. I picked Summit at game day.
Right, we didn't.
I know. Because I felt a little.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I was with you. I thought, man, they were ready. God, what a heartbreaker for them. But
Heartbreaker.
again, kind of like Franklin, they obviously have not, which is never a question, but these kids haven't given up. They're still giving it everything they got. And they're getting better. They're building for the future.
They scored on 3 straight drives in the first half. Austin Harvey to Josh Jenkins for 76 yards. Logan Frazier, we're hearing that name a lot, 62-yard touchdown. Then Dominic Hollis had a touchdown. Hollis and Frazier had 161 yards combined rushing on that night. So they're ending the season with Shelbyville and Franklin. I think Summit's going, okay, we're okay, like you said, building to the future. Let's win these last 2 games and then look forward to a great offseason.
That's right.
A lot to play for.
Game was about 15 minutes too long. If it had ended early.
That's correct. Another game that was tight with a team that struggled. Brentwood 7-0 over Franklin, the oldest rivalry in WCS. Is that safe to say?
Yes, no doubt about it. And
I mean, Franklin and Page played, but not like Franklin and Brentwood did.
no, and don't forget, before there was Brentwood Middle, there was Northside.
Correct.
And some people from Northside went to Brentwood and some went to Franklin. So, and a lot of those people are parents now. And so, yeah, man. It's
A house divided.
a house divided. And that one, we've talked about that. Brentwood Ravenwood's big. Franklin Centennial's big. But for those old, it's kind of like Tennessee. We were talking about earlier. The old heads, Alabama's still the rivalry for Tennessee, right? The old heads, Franklin and Brentwood, that's the rivalry. That's the one. Don't lose that one, Coach.
The only score came with 1:34 left in the first half. Grant Nelson on a 43-yard touchdown pass to Clayton Merrill. Franklin, and I know they don't want to hear this, but it's just what happened. They had 2 drives stalled in the red zone.
Yeah.
Inside the 20-yard line for looking for scores. Came up empty both times. Total yards, not many.
It's really hard to believe.
Not many.
I mean, look at some of Brentwood's scores, and to hold them to 7. And I mean, we knew Brentwood's defense was really good, but I don't think anybody saw that game being 7-0.
277 and 184 on the total yards. Brentwood gets the edge there. Nelson gets 93 yards passing, that touchdown we talked about. Sean Gacka, there's a name you've heard from Franklin, a last name, gets an interception for the Admirals. Your boy Hamzi Nassar, 86 yards rushing. Trey Dorr, 63. And then what about defensively?
Well, Max Orphis had 8 tackles.
I mean, played well.
Played really, really well, and he has all year. He's been one of the leaders on that defense. So, and then another all-name team, your boy Rocco Panaya, 74 rushing yards on the night.
Franklin, listen, they're still plugging too.
Yeah. If they could start the season right over again, I don't know, man.
They can't though.
They can't.
Final game of the week, a boat race special. Fairview 56, Camden 0. It was senior night. It was a non-region game. It's kind of been a traditional rival. And I've got a prediction. Coach Hughes, when you ask the coach at Camden, I don't know the guy's name, he's not going to have room on his schedule next year. He's going to say, sorry, I wish we could, but you're not playing Camden anymore. That's my prediction.
What's that place over there called Cuba Landing? Coach Hughes, we got your boat tied up right up by the gas pump at Cuba Landing. Put that thing, hammer down all the way, get back to Snappy's, Boat Race City. We knew this was going to happen. We just didn't know how bad it was going to happen. 56-0 is pretty bad. Yeah, you're right. Camden will not be playing the Yellow Jackets anymore, and we've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. Bays McCoy's getting more comfortable playing quarterback. I always say this, 10 for 12, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't care. Well, you've seen it at practice. I don't care if you're throwing against air. You go 10 for 12, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, you played really well.
That's 24.5 yards of completion.
You can win like that.
You can win. Crawford Claxton, 5 carries, 88 yards. That's pretty efficient.
Yep.
2 touchdowns. 2 receptions, 86 yards and a touchdown. Basically, when Crawford got the ball, he went a long way.
Yes, but
That's what basically happened.
Yeah, that's kind of what he's been doing all year.
That's 7 touches for, 170 yards?
Yeah, I mean, he's over
174 yards.
Think about that. Every time he touches the ball, it's over 20 yards.
Yeah, he went a long way.
I mean, average. So, Layden Grant with 2 touchdowns.
My guess is his touches were limited.
I would say very limited.
Grayson Estes with a TD reception and an interception. And then I know you're really surprised at who led the way in tackles.
The wrestler,
The wrestler.
Kendrick Curtis.
I don't know if you picked up on that. I'm pretty sure Coach Derek calls it wrestle. It's wrestling to him.
That's not surprising.
Yeah. It's borderline a fight to him. Kendrick Curtis with 7 tackles. Zadik Chambers with 6. Again, I don't care who it is, allowed 2 first downs on the night.
I got that circled.
Got it circled.
It's unbelievable.
Hey, they pulled out, they put the puppies in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they still only had 2 touchdowns. First down.
Zadik Chambers was who you mentioned. He was one of those puppies. Only a sophomore. Wanted to mention him because we like to mention some guys that
Well, he had a big night.
usually doing it on the JV team, but on that night he was playing the
Well, they were playing a JV team.
sort of. All right, let's talk about Pick'ems.
The varsity showed up and played the first
Let's
half.
talk about Pick'ems. Tate, you and the fans both went 4-1 on the strength of that no-low pick. Dr. Qualls and I went 3-2. We all missed the Centennial Ravenwood game. Here are the standings. In last, with 46 wins, Dr. Qualls. Tied for second. The fans and I are tied for second with 47. You're in first with 49. Page would have won that game. We'd be tied, but it didn't happen. This week, though, there's going to be some.
Think about how close that is.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's close. Hey, fans, keep voting WCSCO Athletics on Twitter. Let's get through these quickly, Tate, because there's been a lot going on today.
Are we over?
A lot going on.
Hey, we're like Page Nolensville. We're overtime.
Overtime, fellas. All right, here we go. We're going to start. You're going to start with this one because I'm interested to see where this goes. Brentwood, 6-2, non-region game, of course, traveling to 7-1 Beach. It's the My TV 30 game. Who do you have in this one, Tate?
I'll make this real easy on you. Brentwood, listen to me now. Pay attention to me. I've been picking you to finish second in the region all year long. Heck, you might win it. I still believe in you, and I stand by that statement. I've been with you. I've been with you all year. Beach might be running the football better than anybody in the entire state right now behind Darius Johnson. It's on Shackle Island. I'm going with the Beach Buccaneers.
Okay. So, full disclosure, whichever team you picked,
You were going the other way.
absolutely.
Got it.
Not that I don't believe in you, Brentwood, but that was going to be my play. I'm going Brentwood. It's going to be a great game.
It's going to be a great game.
All right, second game. I'll go.
Hard-hitting game.
Here's a tough one to pick since I'm picking second. Centennial Laverne. Centennial by 1,000,000.
Hey, Pat. let me put it this way. I wouldn't pick Lavergne to beat Camden. I'm going with the Centennial Cougars, the Fighting Coach K's.
You're up next. Fairview, Sycamore. At Sycamore.
I like Sycamore. They're good people. I like what Coach Harrison's doing there. I feel like it's every week lately. Coach Hughes, the Yellow Jackets, Boat Race City.
Fairview. I'm up next.
This is a trap game.
This is a tough game, and I want to see if you'll halfway go. Listen, last week you bailed out and said, I told Brentwood I was finishing second. You kept saying you were going to keep picking Franklin. Franklin hosts Nowensville. 0-8 Franklin, 8-0 Nowensville. I think it's going to be a nail biter, but I'm picking Nolo.
Who won this game last year?
Nowensville.
Yeah. But the year before that,
It was tight. I
think Franklin won.
did win. That's right. That's right.
You picked Nolo.
Yeah.
This is a trap game. Coach, I don't like this for the Knights, but this group is special. Too much firepower. I'm going Nolo.
Our next game, the WCTV game of the week, and it's a good one. Page hosts Independence. Patriots and Independence. Who you got, Tate?
Hey, 5A, 6A. Is the gap really that big? I'll say this. If this game had been a week earlier, I would have gone with the Independence Eagles. Fall break, for a lot of people, no team benefited from fall break more than the Page Patriots. I'm going with Coach Rathbone and the Patriots.
I feel like I might need to pick the opposite of you because I think this is a toss-up game.
It's a tough one.
I really do. It's at Page. I'm going with Page.
Okay?
Tough game, though.
Tough game.
Ravenwood at Pope John Paul. The second, I'm going Ravenwood. They get back on the horse. I'm planning on that QB not playing. If he doesn't, Ravenwood rolls. I'm going Ravenwood.
Think about this. Probably would have been the My TV game of the week had
The two QBs.
two
yeah.
QBs been there. And I don't know that he's out. I know this. It's going to be tough to beat him. Coach Hester is at his best when his back's against the wall. He's got a chip on his shoulder. Normally a very happy guy to be around. He's got a chip on his shoulder right now. I'm going with the Raptors.
Final game, your pick. Summit, Shelbyville, at Summit.
Second win of the year for the Spartans. I like where they are. Coach Coleman has owned Shelbyville. It continues for another year.
So we had one difference.
You're going Summit.
I'm going Summit. We had one difference. You have Beach, I have Brentwood. You're either going to be up 3 or this baby's back to 1 going into the final week of the season.
You sure you don't want to rethink any of them?
No.
Feel good about them?
Indy Page has me worried a little bit, but
Yeah. You went Indy, right?
no one
That's
Page.
right. I'm just kidding. Hey, fans, stay with it. You're still ahead of the doctor.
Hey, and if we don't get fired this week by Mr. Producer for what we've put them through, we'll see you next week on Sports Connection. Tate, we'll see you next week too.
Yeah, man. Get out to a game. Go support the volleyball teams too.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.